Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. We're presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, and I'm now joined by one of the guards of the Navy midshipmen women's basketball team, Kelli Giuliani. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, Kel, growing up, soccer, lacrosse, basketball, those are your three sports in high school, but did you have a first love of the three or maybe something else growing up when it came to athletics?
I loved basketball from the second I came out the womb. I mean, my dad coached high school basketball. He was assistant coach at my high school, and I went with him to practices every single day. Like the day tryout started for winter season was the best day of the year for me. I mean, I loved watching it. I loved listening to him coach. I loved everything about it. It was actually the last sport that I played in like an organized fashion. Picked up soccer, picked up lacrosse, and then I picked up basketball. And it was my parents wanted me to love it because I loved it, not because like my dad loved it. So they wanted me to do it last to make sure I got exposed to other sports. But I always knew that if I were to continue playing sports after high school, it was going to be basketball.
Well, and the reality was you could have probably starred in basketball in a number of schools, but as a three-sport star out of Flint Hill, why did you choose to come to the academy and walk on to the mids?
I spent my summers over in Edgewater with my grandpa, and our big trip every summer would be to take our boat into Eagle Alley and go into town per se, and we'd walk over to Storm Bros and get ice cream, and we take it down to Severn and look at the campus, and he'd tell me all about the academy. And then all of a sudden it was time to start looking at colleges, and I was looking and nothing really fit me. And I didn't feel that pull anywhere. And then one day he just looked at me, he was like, "Hey, you ever thought about Navy?" And I hadn't really, like in a serious manner. And I looked, and it was everything that I needed.
This season, your team has picked seventh in the coaches poll coming in. All of a sudden, you're 5-1. You sit in a tie for the Patriot League right now. What has enabled you and the rest of your team to have such a terrific start?
Honestly, it's what we expected. We loved that coach's poll. It's hanging up in our locker room. It gave us good motivation, but none of this has been a surprise so far this season. I mean, we would love to have Kate Sampson in right now. I think that would make a big difference for us. But even without her, I feel like this team is so resilient, so adaptable, and just everything we've been through up to this point has made us who we are. And we still have so much more we can do. We can be so much better, and we talk about it all the time. But this is really the tip of the iceberg for us.
Kel, you teed me up for exactly what I was going to ask next. You mentioned Kate's been out since December. You haven't played a game this year with Gia, and yet you keep winning games. You said resiliency. I think it's the best way to put it. How have you been able to dig deep and pull out game after game after game?
It just comes down to how hard we play. I mean, we used to be a bigger team, longer. We got Tony, who's really a guard. She's 6'1", Marin 6 foot. I mean, Gio is 6'2", Kate 6'4", and all of a sudden our average height on the team has dropped down to about 5'9". So it's all about adapting, overcoming. It's really what we're missing is maybe a point score, but we're not missing that grit. That's in everyone on this team. I mean, if you're boxing out a 6'5" Sophie Canic, however tall she is, it comes down to your heart and how much you want it. It's not about how tall you are. And that's one of the best parts about this team is you can put anybody down there. They're going to fight for their life. They're going to guard. They're going to box out. That's one of the reasons that we've been so successful this year is we've bought in on the defensive end.
That's a fire. I think a lot of Navy fans are excited to hear, given what you have looming this weekend, another Army-Navy matchup in your midshipman career. This is your third. It's going to be your second up there at West Point. What makes this game and that road environment so unique?
We love playing up there. There is nothing like it. It is the coolest environment I have ever had the privilege to play in. They do a great job of bringing everybody in, making it a great environment, making it the event of the weekend up there, maybe the event of the month. And we look forward to it because it's a challenge. Like that is tough to play in. You got the football team sitting right under the basket, the other part of the football team, and it's everyone's loud, everyone's screaming, and it can seem intimidating, especially the first time you go up there. But I feel like we've come to appreciate the environment more and learn to love it and be it like just sorry not to use the word again, but just to appreciate the fact that they're all there, that this is an event. Like, it's women's sports and they're all still showing out. They make it such a big deal. And it's you don't get that everywhere. It's an opportunity of really a lifetime to be able to play in an environment like that.
Kelli, you might not be playing the 25 to maybe 30 minutes per game that you're accustomed to in high school, but you have such a gratitude for this program, your team, and these opportunities that you get. Where does that come from, and what has kept you in Annapolis?
It's really simple. I mean, I love this team. I love these girls, and more than anything, we want to win. And however that happens, if I'm sitting on the bench, if I'm on the court, if they need me somewhere else, that's what we're going to do. And I think that's across the board. Everybody on this team believes that. At the end of the day, we want to win.
All right, well, I'm going to end you with a lighthearted one because you have a two-game road trip coming up. You got Boston first on Wednesday, and then the Black Knights on the road this weekend. Who on the team keeps road trips the most fun, and why?
Oh, I got to give that to two people, my girl Kaya Smith and Sarah Michella. They can make anybody laugh at any time. It does not matter how serious the situation is. It doesn't matter where we are. They are just entertaining, and they love to make people smile.
Awesome. Well, yeah. One last quick thing for you, because right now you sit first in the Patriot League, that seventh in the coaches poll. You got it pinned in the locker room wall. It's certainly been fueling this run so far. Where's this Navy team going to end up at the end of this year?
You're going to see us at the top. At the top. I don't know if it's number one, but we're going to be up there.
Awesome. Kelli, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.